Peter Schiff says the day of reckoning is here. The everything bubble is now deflating. Now let's be honest, he's actually been saying that for about 20 years now. Many people have said that he has accurately predicted 19 of the last 2 crashes. In just a minute, we're going to hear Peter make his catastrophic predictions in his own words. In case you don't know, I'm Douglas Lucky Larson on the Retire Early and Often channel, where we're always trying to help others become financially free so that you can spend your time on the things that matter most. Now, the current warning bells for Peter Schiff include the trade deficit and actual CPI numbers, not the fake underreported consumer price index numbers that are always doctored a bit by our government. And Peter's also concerned about the Fed's printing press and stimmy checks and impending unemployment that he thinks will start later this year. Also, he's concerned about the futility of tiny incremental rate hikes from the Fed because they are still well within stimulatory rates by historic standards. Peter insists that a recession has already begun and it's likely to become a depression. And there's nothing that the Fed can do this time. On the next slide, we will watch a couple of his recent short clips. And here's Peter Schiff on, the video was uploaded on Jan 28 of 2022. And here he is talking about something catastrophic. The day of reckoning is here. We'll skip around just a bit, but you'll get the gist.
Relative to GDP, the mirror image of America today. So we're not going to have a positive ending like the one we had with Volcker and Reagan. We're going to have something completely different and catastrophic. And so it's even more important that you stagflation proof your portfolio, because it might end up being an inflationary depression, not just a recession, but a depression.
Wow. Don't mess around. And here's another quick clip.
Move up to new highs, and so they're complacent, they're not worried, and they're going to get obliterated. But what the smart investor has to do is recognize that the day of reckoning is here. A lot of people, don't understand that because they had no idea that there was a problem to reckon with. Just like so many people were surprised by the financial crisis of 2008. I wasn't surprised. I had been expecting it for years. It finally happened. This next crisis is going to be much worse. Again, the same people that were blindsided by the financial crisis of 2008 have no idea that this even larger crisis is around the corner. I do. I've been expecting it for years.
So there you have it. And of course, if you listen to Peter Schiff, you know that his company, Euro Pacific Capital, has the solution that you need. So on the next slide, we'll take a look at a couple other things, but something catastrophic, the day of reckoning. It's going to be worse even than the great financial crisis, and it's just around the corner. Wow. Now, there's no doubt that Peter Schiff is a very smart guy. He sees things through the lens that of what should happen in a free and fair market where there are winners and losers according to time-tested historical market forces. However, he keeps underestimating, and he also admits this, he keeps underestimating that the Fed and politicians are totally willing to go to extreme lengths to intervene and meddle and distort the economy and asset prices and the job market and inflation numbers. They're not only willing, but they're able to do it. Now, Peter Schiff insists that it's going to be worse than it ever would have been if they'd stopped the fake inflating and the too big to fail and the no billionaire left behind policies that really kicked in after the 08 and 09 crash. He also says that gold is going to go up by 5x. Well, we'll see. His most alarming prediction to me, though, is that we will soon have hyperinflation in the U.S. Now, just so you know, The actual definition of hyperinflation is broad and sustained price increases of at least 50% per month. That's per month, which would mean that a loaf of bread would go from, $3 or $4 right now to over $200 in the space of 1 year. Crazy. When people use this term, hyperinflation, they usually don't understand what that actually means. It's actually very rare, but certainly has happened. I have a couple examples right here. Zimbabwe has gone through hyperinflation and a total collapse of their currency a couple times. And this $10 billion note from 2008 literally wouldn't buy you a square of toilet paper. Sure makes me wonder what this was being used for before I bought it on eBay. Where's my hand sanitizer again? Anyway, in this picture, there's a guy with a wheelbarrow full of currency notes, and you probably couldn't have traded those notes in 2009 for a single chicken or a dozen eggs. In Venezuela, currency went catastrophic from 2012 to about 2018 when their government printed money exponentially. It is believed that over 5 million people have migrated out of Venezuela since 2015 because things have gotten so desperate. This photo is of a street vendor who found a way to use the useless notes by weaving them into cool origami sculptures and purses and other trinkets. Things have gotten so bad now, a couple years on from that, that in many areas it's not even safe to sell stuff on the streets, and no tourists are there to buy it. Yikes. Now, money in Venezuela, it's very colorful, very pretty. Again, I bought these on eBay because they're literally useless for currency. In fact, I've heard that they're actually littered around the streets and clogging the gutters because of how much money printing the government really did. Now, with all the smart people I listen to, like George Gammon, Jim Rickards, Adam Taggart, Jeff Booth, Lynn Alden, Jeff Snyder, and many others, I do think that tough times are coming. But not before politicians and the Fed have literally thrown every tool they have at this thing. People often say that they, meaning politicians and the Federal Reserve, only have a couple tools, like interest rates and creating money. But as I've said before, they have lots of tools, and most of them are bad. But when you're desperate, you often do bad and desperate things. What are some of these bad and desperate things? Well, some things on this list have already been tried in the US, and some are being planned even as I record this video. Attempts at price controls and wage controls and more stimmy checks and the Fed buying the actual stock market and central bank digital currencies and tariffs and rent controls and rent moratoriums, welfare increases and rent and mortgage payment assistance, and also bailouts and bail-ins and on and on. They will do it in the name of helping one group, but it only hurts another group. As George Gammon likes to say, there are no solutions, but only trade-offs. Again, Peter Schiff insists that we are not going to have a positive ending. We will have something catastrophic. The day of reckoning is here, he says. And of course, Peter Schiff's money management company, if you believe him, Euro Pacific Capital, is the only thing that can save you. Well, maybe or maybe not. I decided to look into his track record of asset management, and I found one of his clients that gave what I thought was a pretty honest review. Over a 6-year period ending in December of 2020, his Euro-Pacific investments managed by Peter Schiff had only realized about a 3.8% annualized gain. In that same time, the S&P 500 index went up 100%, or about 15% per year. Peter Schiff's Europac Gold Fund, which he often touts, had a 5-year annualized return of only 2.29% as of September 2021. It looks like Peter Schiff is actually pretty good on defense, but not so hot on offense. Sadly, that sounds like my favorite NFL team, the Kansas City Chiefs, in their last playoff game. Really good defense in the first half, and absolutely no offense in the second half. Oh well, there's always next year. If you're always warning about inflation, which Peter Schiff always does, you gotta at least be able to keep up with inflation, right? Again, I think some of Peter Schiff's predictions will be spot on, but the other smart guys I listen to think that any downturn will be a drawn out, grinding down process after at least maybe a year or more of volatility, but record nominal asset appreciation in select stocks and commodities and real estate and probably the top cryptocurrencies as well. The smart guys and gals that I mentioned above think that we will see some real gains over the next several months of 2022 before any big stock market crash happens, and the slow, ugly downward spiral then begins. Not a forever bust, but an ugly couple of years that will shake out weak companies and bad ideas and over-leveraged banks. So, because I like to leave my viewers with some actionable items, what can you do to protect yourself? Well, I can't give you advice, just infotainment, because I'm a guy on YouTube, but I can tell you some of the things that I'm doing. What can you do? Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing. First, I think it's wise to have a little food insurance. Chris Martenson, author of the book Prosper, and you can find him here on YouTube at Peak Prosperity. He calls it building a deep pantry. Canned goods, rice and pasta and other dry goods that you actually will use and won't mind at all eating in the future and sharing with other people if needed. 50 gallons of water or more and some water filters. It's just smart. Number 2, stock up on basic medications, aspirin, Advil, and prescriptions, and even vitamins. You can also Google some great home remedies that fight off all kinds of things. Probably wise in the middle of another wave of the ever virus, right? Also, get some seeds for starting a spring garden. Buy now, and that stuff is cheap and in stock, and it's kind of on sale right now. Check Amazon. I'm not a great gardener, but I will tell you that the last couple of years, I just put some seeds in the ground in my backyard, and it's like magic. Pretty soon there's sprouts, and you put it on a timed watering schedule. I actually don't do much else. I don't have a beautiful garden, but we had more tomatoes and squash and melons and beans and peas and even corn than we could even eat, and we were able to share it with lots of other people. Number 4, sensible asset purchases like cash flowing rental properties. It's my favorite. And make sure you lock in low fixed rate debt, if any debt at all. Maybe some solid dividend paying stocks, perhaps in energy. I will also be buying some more Ethereum if I see another drop in the next couple weeks. And it's wise to keep some cash on hand as well for emergencies. Number 5, most importantly, I am trying to strengthen relationships, family, friends, neighbors, people in church groups. I'm trying to communicate well with my tenants as well. Good communication and strong relationships are always the key to getting through tough times and thriving, no matter if we've got several months or years of further appreciation and increase, or if Peter Schiff is finally right and a depression is right around the corner. So again, as you know, we're always talking on this channel about retiring early and often, and a big part of that is positioning yourself financially, emotionally, socially, and even spiritually so that you can take advantage of good opportunities that come your way, and also sleep well at night, knowing that you are insulated just a bit if times get tough. Please give us a thumbs up and share our channel with others. It really does help. Hope to see you on the next video.